Today, I had the chance to talk one-on-one with Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. One of the topics we discussed was Indiana's stand on ending DEI practices. Rokita and Governor Mike Braun just put out a news release stating that all state contractors must clearly say they do not engage in DEI practices.
Well, of course, DEI is really, from my perspective, DEI is just a code word for discrimination, right? It's discrimination not the other way. It's discrimination against white people. All discrimination is bad. All discrimination is illegal, period. And so what Governor Braun did when he came to office is he put out an executive order saying there's not going to be discrimination in state government. What I do as your Attorney General, and one of my duties for the state, is I review every legal contract that the state of Indiana enters into with private individuals, with other companies, sometimes with other types of governments. And what we want to make sure is that anybody that the state of Indiana is contracting, because we're using your tax dollars, right? It's your money, not mine. And so I want to make sure, Governor Braun and I want to make sure that none of those tax dollars are being given to a company, given to a vendor that practices DEI, because that's discrimination. It's against the law.
I also asked Rokita about DEI within higher education and Purdue's sunsetting of their DEI programs earlier this year.
Question. We didn't have to talk with Purdue. We saw their statement. Now, it could be that Purdue is saying that they're stopping it. Maybe they're calling it something else. I don't know. We'll find out one day, if that's the case. But we analyzed Purdue's public records and websites and things that they were saying. Then we saw their statement come out, and so they're not on my radar. I find Purdue to be a good partner. Other schools, Notre Dame, Butler, DePaul, are examples that we are investigating because their public statements, their public website, those things like that have very aggressive, overt goals of saying we have a lot of people of a certain type and we want more of that type. That doesn't mean that they're discriminating, but it leads a reasonable person to ask the question, okay, how are you getting to this very aggressive, overt goal without discriminating? And that's the basis of the questions that we're asking. All three of those schools, Notre Dame, Butler, DePaul, they've answered my initial letter. And I appreciate that, but their initial response, two of their initials for Notre Dame and Butler, were very general. They didn't answer any questions. So we followed up with Notre Dame and Butler in a more formal manner, giving them what is in effect subpoenas, things that they have to answer by law under oath. And we'll get the documents and the answers that we want. DePaul did give us a huge amount of documents, again, which I appreciate, but we're still reviewing those to see if they've answered the questions.
Another topic, Indiana Eyes on Education program that allows parents to report on controversial subjects in schools.
There's kind of a misconception out there. The reality is parents are in charge of their child's education. And not teachers and not the school, the parents. It's ultimately inherently their responsibility. The schools and the teachers, they're in a kind way, they're the hired help. And I love to support great teachers. I think we need to get rid of the bad ones. But the point is, parents, speaking as one, need every tool they can get. And this is Eyes on Education portal is another way for parents to know what's going on in their kids' schools in terms of their lesson plans, or what's going on in other schools to make sure the bad lesson plans, the indoctrination, the treating kids discriminatorily, those kinds of things don't happen in their own kids' school classroom. So that's the purpose of it.
I also asked about the state working with ICE and about the new federal immigration detention center here in Indiana.
I think it has the backing of Hoosiers. I think again, we're not embarrassed, and there's nothing to be shameful about putting ourselves first. Every other country puts themselves first. We should put ourselves first. And these people, we're the only country in the world that has an open border, that has had an open border like this. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're collecting the worst of the worst. If you're here illegally, you've committed, especially the second time or third time, you've committed a crime for sure. There are more dangerous criminals out there who are also illegal aliens. We're focusing on them first.
And then, like in that release, you say, quote, treating people differently in the workplace based on race and sex is a destructive legal practice. To what do you mean, like, is DEI an illegal practice? Okay, and what is the wording in the DEI that you say is a legal practice?
Well, that's a great question. So it's fine to have diversity goals, and we want to hire more so-and-so type person because our business would be better that way, or it's more reflective of the community. That's fine, but you cannot have that goal and try to implement, and try to reach that goal on the backs of someone else, right? If to reach that goal you have to discriminate against a person of a different color, that's when it's illegal. That's the problem. And so we have to make sure, and so much of DEI, to your question, so much of the DEI, when you put it into practice, means that you have to discriminate against a white person in order to meet your goal of hiring a less qualified black person or Latino person or something like that. If you're doing that, that's illegal in this country.